Hello, my name is Rosie. I'm a third-year PhD student at the Harvard Machine Learning Foundations group, and we're presenting this work studying optimizers for language model pre-training. So our work kind of has two parts. So one of the questions that we're interested in is given these existing standard optimizers that people use for pre-training, how does it compare both in terms of performance as well as hyperparameter stability? And then so in the first part of our work, we basically do a bunch of sweeps across multiple model scales, across a lot of standard optimizers such as SGD, Atom, Attafactor, Lion, and Sign Momentum. And we do these sweeps for learning rate, momentum, and a bunch of other hyperparameters. And basically the main takeaway is that a lot of these optimizers, with the exception of SGD, actually perform very similarly, and they also have a very similar basin for hyperparameter stability, and this kind of holds across learning rate, momentum, and all these other hyperparameters. And so we kind of wanted to investigate this further by actually kind of seeing why these adaptive optimizers all behave kind of similarly, and in particular why does SGD actually perform suboptimally. So to investigate this, we actually analyzed a variant of Atom called Eta layer. And so instead of kind of storing the full EMA of the gradient squared, Eta layer just kind of stores a single scalar for some block of the parameters. And we kind of investigate how these effective learning rates for different parameter blocks kind of evolve over time. And basically, there's two sets of parameters that kind of stand out. So the last layer, actually the effective learning rates kind of change across multiple orders of magnitude over time, which suggests that the last layer kind of particularly needs this kind of adaptivity that these optimizers provide. And there's another set of parameters, the layer norm parameters, that actually have effective learning rates that are much smaller orders of magnitude relative to the other parameters. So after we kind of identified these two sets of parameters, we kind of show that actually if you just retain the adaptivity on these two sets of parameters and then you train the rest of the network with SGD, you can actually recover the performance of training the network with full Eta layer or even Atom. So actually really you just needed the adaptivity on these two sets of parameters to achieve similar performance and stability as in our initial ablations. So I guess the main takeaways are that for these standard optimizers that fall in the class of diagonal preconditioning optimizers, they're all roughly equivalent in terms of optimal performance and hyperparameter stability. And our findings show that this is because they treat particularly the last layer logits and the layer norm parameters. And that's kind of why these adaptive optimizers perform very well relative to something like SGD. And yeah, I guess in terms of diagonal preconditioning optimizers, it seems there's not much more to do. They're all pretty similar. So maybe in terms of actually improving performance using optimizers, I think second order optimizers are a promising direction, and that led to follow-up work, which is also in this workshop. So yeah, thank you.